Hey everybody, Rick here with Departure Heaven. Welcome to Prophecy Mondays, folks. We air every week and talk about Bible prophecy, matching news headlines, current events, and narrowing down how close we think the rapture of the church is coming, which I believe in 2024 looks really good right now. But folks, before I begin here, start by subscribing. It only takes a couple seconds. It's free. Hit the like button. Everybody that's tuning in right now, hit the like button. It helps our video climb the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, 8:30 p.m. we start Eastern Standard Time. It's Florida, New York time every Monday. Okay, so you hit the notification bell, and that'll notify you when I'm live. You may set your browser settings. All right, and you know we're looking at we're monitoring the events, folks, as they happen. They're not just happening, they're stacking up. That's how quick events are happening right now, folks. They're stacking up like dominoes. Okay. And well, I won't say dominoes, just stacking like you're stacking pizza boxes or something. It's stacking up, you get it. But the domino effect is occurring as well. And Bob Barber explained that last week. And he also has it in some of his videos. If you check out End Time Dreams and Visions, Bob Barber's channel, he did a video, I believe, on that. I've been really busy this weekend. Folks, I also want to let you know that today is Memorial Day. So we are to honor our fellow servicemen for their duty in America and everywhere. And honor the fallen, the people that did their services, and the ones that are the fallen, the people that put their lives for us. We are to honor them and take that moment out and take a moment of silence to honor them. Okay. My father, 22 years in the U.S. Navy. He's retired. 22 years, folks. He retired. I honor him as well. He's still alive. Okay. And, he is to be honored. He's my father. And knowing that I can't ask for a better father than my father, but he did a great service for the country in the U.S. Navy. Anyways, folks, let me just check to see who's all in here real quick. Texas Dream, how you doing? Thank you for that. So yeah, people are just checking out my room here, my chat room in here. I got a little chat room. You can go chat people real quick if you want to come in and watch. You can interact with people. All I ask is you keep, respect one another in there. Our moderator, Tiffany, I believe she's in there. If not, she will be there shortly. I'll have to text her real quick, let her know that my show is live. Why I have my panelists join us here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in right now. He is from End Time Generation. He has a YouTube channel out, and I'll post his link up here in a second. Let's welcome Dustin, folks.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
How you doing?
Happy Memorial Day.
Thank you. You too, man.
So what's been going on? Have you heard anything new? I've been following it all morning, been checking out what's been going on around the world and listening to other watchmen. And I'm going to tell you, it's looking promising. Not for the world, but for the church.
Well, when you say promising, what made you say that right off the bat?
Well, it's just a lot of things like you were talking about moments ago with the whole domino thing that Brother Bob was talking about. And I was watching, and the viewers on this channel right now will be very well aware of Chris from Global Rapture Watchers. He was talking about how God gave him a dream. And this was just, I think, last night. And he mentioned that in the dream, God showed him a clock made out of dominoes. And it was on, what was it? 1 o'clock or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, I wonder what that 1 o'clock meant. I don't know if it was like, God telling him that, the president of Iran was 1 o'clock, and then what's 2 o'clock, what's 3 o'clock, what is it till it gets to midnight, maybe, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how it works, but I just thought that when he talked about the domino, I was like, well, wait a minute. My ears perked up and I started listening to what he was saying. And he was talking about how him and Lisa, Watchwoman 65, were talking a little bit about some of the things that have been going on with NATO supposedly taking out the ballistic radar systems that can detect whether or not a nuclear weapon is coming into Russia. Supposedly, they're saying NATO took out 2 of them, and how NATO does not have that technology or the capability of doing such a thing, and that it was really not NATO, but Ukraine doing it, and it was actually NATO that did it, not Ukraine. And so with that, they were also saying that a couple weeks ago, Russia changed their policy where now they have first to strike. So when they're seeing that supposedly Ukraine took out these radar towers to detect a ballistic missile that could possibly carry a warhead, so basically now Russia's a sitting duck, and they're not going to be able to tell whether or not if a nuclear missile is coming in. So with them now having the first to respond, or first strike, I should say, they may actually go ahead and do it. And a lot of people are mistaken if they think that nothing can happen, that we can't be touched. And they might hold off and wait for something to go on with China taking Taiwan. That way we're preoccupied, and then we're just, caught unawares, something like that. So that's just a possibility.
We're not in grave dangers. We know how it ends for us. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to just say something real quick. Tiffany is our moderator. I'm just going to say I am live real quick. There you go. She got it. Okay, that's our moderator. She should be on our way. Okay, yeah. Yeah. If you guys haven't noticed that the Russians are trying to blind us where we can't see their moves, according to sort of like, I believe that's what you were saying, Dustin, that they're trying to blind us so we can't see what these guys are up to. So if they bring some subs off the side of California, we don't have a detection of their subs. They could surprise us just like that and launch small tactical nukes out of those subs.
Right.
And there goes LA. There goes, God only knows, folks. They could reach all the way in the continental United States real easily. I don't know about China. I heard something about China troops being trained, I think in Canada. Is that something? Is that true? I've heard it somewhere that they're nearby. And if they want to attack us, they can come in like this from the bottom through Mexico, all up through, and come right through. I heard there's some training exercises going on down in Cuba. Russians, folks, they're strategically lining and coordinating their move around us. It's like they're surrounding us, and we're just going to sit back and say, "Oh, we don't see you. What you're doing? We see you, man. We know what you're doing." They're positioning themselves for war, folks. And we're just doing an exercise. They let us come on over. My butt, it is. They are there, and they're planning probably an attack when the time is right, folks. And that's why I believe strongly that the church is going to be out of here. The rapture of the church is so near. It's not even funny anymore. And we go up. When I was watching my intro, my show, you saw it with the angels flying. I was like, really, God? Come on, let's do this, man. I'm ready to go home, folks. I'm tired.
Yeah, well, Watchwoman made a great point. She said that the rapture will not happen during a lockdown because the Bible says they were eating and drinking and giving in marriage until the day that the Lord came and took them away. Right? Basically, it's going to be business as usual, how we see things now. But under a lockdown, that's not business as usual. And it kind of made sense that we would leave before a lockdown. And what I mean by that is because today,
that puts us really close,
right,
really
because
close.
the World Health Organization, the WHO, I would just call it that, the WHO, I guess now has sovereignty over the United States, and they can basically lock us down during the time of something that took place, like, back in 2020. Gotta be careful what I say. But in other words, so my perspective on this is, being an election year, they'll do anything they can to stop Trump from becoming president. So they'll try to, in my opinion, release another, you know, pandemic or whatever, so that way they can be put on lockdown by the World Health Organization, and then stop the elections. Because if you noticed, we have such a small window time. And the reason I keep going back to this is because, and I mentioned this many times, is because our enemies know that. They know what it will be like under a Trump presidency, then they know what it's like under a Biden administration. They've seen both now. And it would much be easier for them to attack Taiwan now and basically do everything that they need to do right now while they have the power and the capability, because they know America's military is depleted. We don't have the ammunition. We don't have the capability to defend ourselves on all these multiple fronts. And not only are we depleted, but so is NATO. And the thing is NATO has been open about that. They've been telling, the European Union has been saying, oh, we're out of ammunition. That's what Germany's been saying. France is short on ammunition. So is the United Kingdom. And another thing I noticed that there was in the headlines is that the European Union is talking about implementing a draft. Well, what do you need a draft for if you plan on going to war? Well, here's the thing. Trump is a man of peace, and if he gets in office, he won't have war. So the Democrats last year, I think it was in 2022, they passed a bill that now they can draft young women into the military. And if Trump gets in office, there's not going to be a war. So if they bring us into a war with China over Taiwan, or North Korea and their nuclear weapons, or if Russia or Iran and Israel, then if they bring us into this war, then they can shut down the elections. But then they'll also need a draft here too in the United States.
Right.
So that's what I see. All these things, if you look at everything and you put it all together, they're taking out the radar towers. They're implementing the draft. They are in election year. They're running out of time. They don't want Trump in, but they got to do something to turn the tide in their favor, because when you have 80,000 people showing up in New York for a rally in the Bronx, that sends a signal. We got to do something. Either we got to start a nuclear war and take out the United States, the Christian conservative red states with a dirty nuke or a nuclear bomb, or we lock the whole nation down through who? You know what I'm saying? The World Health Organization. And if we can do that, then we can stop the elections. So there's a possibility a lot of things taking place. But like Lisa said, it doesn't seem likely that the rapture would happen during a lockdown, because based on what Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah.
Yes, we are definitely living in the days of Noah.
Yeah.
Now, folks, I heard, I don't know if I got this right, something about UK issuing a mandatory draft for war. Now, I know if that's what, folks, if we get a draft here in America, they're going to start at 18 years old up to 30, I believe. That's just what I'm guessing, around there. They'll probably start the first age bracket and keep it going. But, folks, when you hear about a draft like that, you start hearing it in the news, you know that this is getting close.
Absolutely.
Like World War close. That means it's getting desperate, folks. Desperality. And, question is, will you sign up for a draft? Will you go? Or would you rather them take you off to prison? Folks, I know a lot of people probably, I'm not saying I know a lot of people personally, but I'm just telling you in general, I know a lot of people will not sign up for it because they know where this is going to go. It's going to lead to them dying in a war pointlessly, they'll think, majority of them. And They're going to be sent. You can go to prison for this. Do you think the prison systems and all they'll be overwhelmed by people coming in there? They're not going to have room to put all these people in there.
Right.
What are they going to do? They're just going to tell you, okay, you don't want to go, you don't have to go. That's what it's going to come down to. Now, I could be wrong, but and then a lot of people are going to have that's the spirit. Let's go fight. Which I believe in standing up for our country. Okay, I get that. Okay, but we've seen what a draft does to a country. Ukraine, big example of that, and Russia and all that.
Yeah.
The Ukrainians were, I've seen videos where some Ukrainian guy was banging his head up against this car, hoping it would give him brain damage so he wouldn't have to go to war. He would rather have that than go off to war.
Right.
People were scared to go to the draft. Their papers, they were signed up by random. They get the paper in the mail. You go at this time. What a draft paper looks like. They showed a few examples on the internet.
Yeah.
And you were to report to this building. You go there. They sign you up. You're enlisted automatically. You're accepted regardless. Okay. They do check a few things on you to make sure you're fit for war. And then off you go to boot camp. It's a temporary boot camp. It's a fast boot camp. I mean, you will really be pushed hard. And they'll have you ready to go to enemy front lines when that time is ready. Which, obviously, if there's a draft, there's war in progress. That means bombs are dropping. And they're just feeding them all into a big line into the meat grinder, if you want to call it that. They're waiting one by one to be slaughtered because, are you cut out for war? Are you cut out, Dustin, to go to front lines right now? If you were drafted, would you be ready to pick up a rifle and face the enemy? That's the thing. A lot of people don't know that life, so they're not into that. They're not. A lot of people could be afraid. They're afraid of guns. I'm not picking up a rifle and doing that. And they force you. You have to go because it's wartime.
Right.
So we start hearing about drafts everywhere. Get ready, folks. If you're in that age bracket, you might get it in the mail, or they may come to you they may come in a car vehicle and drop it off in your mail. But I don't know how it's going to work, but you have to look it up how they do it. If it's a random phone call or a text message, that's probably how they're going to do it, and you'll receive it on your phone. Now, my phone service doesn't work. Okay, well, that's probably why they'll mail it to you.
Yeah, they'll mail it.
Mail, 1 day delivery.
Well, I remember when I turned, I think it was 18. I don't know if they still do it this way, but I had to sign something when I turned 18 here in Michigan saying that if there was a draft, then I would go. I don't know if it was like that in Florida where you live or anywhere else in the States. But when I did turn 18, now I'm 43 next month, and I don't think they could take me, but if they could, I'm not going to be the one that they put on the front line. I tell you that, I'm so physically out of shape. But if I were to go, though, I mean, I would go, and just for the the trip. I mean, you're gonna die anyways. How are you gonna outrun a nuclear bomb? You know what I'm saying? Whether it's home or foreign, I go for the trip. I mean, it is what it is. I look at it this way: I win either way. I get to go be with the Lord if I die, and if I don't, I get to see the world from my perspective. So
that's earlier you get to go up and be with them.
Right.
You don't have to wait for the rapture like the rest of us.
Right, and that's why I'm not because when you're right with God, you shouldn't be afraid to die anyways. I mean, even if a nuclear war did break out and God didn't take us immediately, or happy are ye if you die in the Lord. The Bible says, "Precious in the sight of the Lord are the death of the saints." Anyways, and I'm not saying that we're going to be caught in a nuclear war, because I don't know how God's going to exactly play it out. He didn't come down in a dream and tell me. I just know that if something were to happen, it doesn't really matter to me because I make it anyways. You know what I'm saying? I win regardless. What the devil means for bad, God will just turn it around for my favor anyways. So there's a lot going on.
I'm going to put this up on the screen here and let you see this. You should be seeing this right now, folks. These are dangerous developments, folks. Okay? Very, very dangerous developments going on here. And when I say divinity, it's right here. NATO
Yep.
blinds command and control system, or blinds, yeah, of Russia's nuclear forces, Kyiv bomb strategic radars. So you see this going on right there, okay, folks? And I'm not gonna, I'm not just gonna, read through it, but I mean, look at this. I mean, there's so much going on everywhere. But let me just see. If NATO is taking measures for a first nuclear strike, they got this right here, folks. This was dated on the 27th, okay, which is today.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, I want to click on this. I just want to see what they're saying real quick. Look at this, folks. Is NATO taking measures for a nuclear first strike? Now, tell me if this doesn't get you going. I mean, think about it, Dustin. If you were Russian commander in chief and they start blinding all your forces like this, you think they're up to something. What are they doing, guys? They're in the war room right now talking, probably saying, this is what NATO's trying to do. I think they're going to try to hit us. Russia could do a sneak attack on America and all the rest of the countries because of just this provocation alone. You know, God sees this, folks, and he's like, man, oh man, I better get the Christians out of there and bring the Antichrist. Because the Antichrist, folks, is how this is going to end up. It ends with him. Because he's the one that's going to bring peace to the world temporarily. When that happens, he'll only bring it for 7 years. And then, of course, well, actually, there won't be peace because it'll be the last 3.5 will be terrible times. Really bad. The great part of the tribulation. Then we know our all-knowing Jesus Christ will come back, folks, and he will bring the ultimate peace on earth. You know, folks, what an amazing time to be alive. But, I look at this right here. This is in Russia's war room. You can tell that is. They got their screens up. They're looking at everything here. They are very, very serious. Look at that. They're hard at work. They're planning their strategic moves right now as we speak. Look at this. Ukraine shot down a second radar of Russian nuclear early warning and combat system, attempting to shoot down another one, with Moscow expecting the 4 radar station to hit as well. Boy, this just keeps going, folks, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. The Russians are waiting for a new blow. They are looking for a way to react. I mean, this is not scaring me, but it should scare the average non-believer, folks. You know what I'm saying, folks? It should scare the average non-believer, a person that doesn't believe. You're about to get left behind. You follow me, folks? What do you think, Dustin?
Well, from the looks of that picture, they look very serious. And if I was Russia, I would have already done the first strike. And I wouldn't have waited around for NATO because they said that they got to remain one step ahead of the United States. Well, how do you do that? You strike first.
Right.
Don't give NATO and the United States time to strike you first, because we have a strike first policy. Well, now Russia does too. So the question is who's going to strike first? They know that Trump won't do it. So they know that the people in office right now are crazy enough to do this.
Right.
And Russia's not playing. But we are trying to call Russia's bluff, and that's a stupid thing. And which is why you're seeing these articles for the draft, because they know it's about to go down. And it's just a matter of, it's not when, it is when. It's not if, it is when. And I just think it's sooner than most people think. Now, as you were saying about, war happening and then the Antichrist coming up upon the scene, say there's a couple nuclear bombs that go off, right?
Oh yeah.
Not talking about total devastation, but it's a limited strike, right? All of a sudden, this man steps on the scene and he's like, okay, I'm going to put an end to this. Say a couple NATO allies get, like UK, because they've already threatened to bomb UK, Russia has, along with certain areas, what was it, Poland? There was another one. And if it's a limited nuclear strike, I mean, all they really have to do, the United States, is give us an EMP, and blow one up and off the coast underwater, use Poseidon, and that will just devastate our country for years, just in itself. I mean, Russia and the United States together, we both have enough nuclear weaponry to wipe all animal and plant life off the earth 100 times over. And it just takes one. It just takes one.
Yeah.
And we got people on both sides that just talk of nuclear weapons being used like it's nothing. So I don't know. I think Russia will do something, and it's going to surprise and shock everyone because our mainstream media has lied so much about Russia. I mean, what was it? A couple years ago, they had Vladimir Putin half dead, and he looks as healthy as ever. You know, they downplay the scenario and they
Yeah.
downplay how bad it is all the time. But yet, I think it's a lot worse, and we're a lot farther along than what we even realize. And we'll be about our business, doing just shopping, going to Walmart, you know, having a cookout, and then all of a sudden, we hear over the radio some cities got vaporized by a nuclear bomb, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Look at this article here. Serious armed incident, fierce exchange of fire between Egyptian and Israeli army with dead and wounded. Will Egypt recall the ambassador Tel Aviv? Now, did you hear about this, Dustin? Is this actually happening?
Yeah. I was going to make a video on this morning. I ended up doing like 30 takes, and then because I kept getting angry and I kept going on a rant, so I had to stop, and I didn't end up making the video because, you know, you got the world community now saying because the Egyptians were shooting at the Israeli soldiers, and there has been some deaths of IDF soldiers that have been killed, and they just kind of sweep it on the rug because Israel doesn't want to break peace, right? Well, now the cat's out of the bag, and an Egyptian soldier was killed, and there's been firing back and forth, and the world community is still angry at Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they're saying that there's no safe place now in Rafah for anyone. And you know how it is. They'll say, "Oh, there was 500 civilians died." Really, it's like 10, but they all seem to be children. Like there's no such thing as an adult in Gaza. They're all children. There are no adults in Gaza. They're all children. And, you know, even though Hamas hides their weapons behind, you know, schools and daycares, and they cry about all these so-called children dying, at the same time they strap C4 to them. You know, it's kind of like the left when they cry about the children at our border in cages, but yet they kill the children in the womb. You know what I'm saying? The hypocrisy there is just unbelievable. And that's what we're seeing. Saudi Arabia, they're all calling for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu, along with the German chancellor saying that he would even turn Benjamin Netanyahu in. And you have all these Arab nations are now, if you go to Al Jazeera News and you look, you can see the list of complaints that they're having against Israel attacking Rafah. And now that this happened in Egypt, it's just getting out of control. And the Arab nations are getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And they're trying to force a two-state solution, and Benjamin Netanyahu and his administration will not allow a two-state solution. So they're trying to remove Benjamin Netanyahu. And the Bible says when all these nations come against Israel, look up. Look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. So that's why I was saying earlier, it looks promising for the church, but it doesn't look so good for the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, things are not looking good right now, folks.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's looking good for us because we know we're about to get raptured out of here.
Right.
So that's the part that's good about it. But
Yeah.
it's not looking good for the rest of the people out that don't know Jesus, because what's going to happen, folks? They're going to sit around. They're going to say, okay, this is really bad. They're going to be, okay, this goes on. And they're not really understanding what they're really seeing, folks. We do, because we have the Holy Spirit as indwelling us. It gives us the ability to see and identify the times, folks. An average person, that a non-believer, will not see it like we do. They say, well, this is just bad. They're going to say it's just bad stuff that's going on. And we need peace. We need this and that. Okay? Or we need a leader that can stop it, which is the Antichrist, what they're waiting for. We know, we see it. We know it's like an X-ray machine. We can see everything inside what's really going on.
Right.
We are seeing it. We know where it's leading to. We know the horn is about to blow. We are the only ones that will hear the horn, and we will be translated. These bodies will be gone, folks. And hallelujah, man, if it happens this year, folks, because The way everything looks right now, folks, it looks very promising for a year like this. Now, I can't say it for sure. I'm not going to set a date. We don't do that here on this show. What we can do is narrow it down that we think it could be this year, because a lot of the things are lining up. Now that the Iranian president is gone, Iran is in a weaker state of point right now. They're leaderless right now. And the Antichrist will have an advantage in a way over that. Okay. I'm not saying he's going to come into Iran and be the Antichrist there. No. We know it comes from that area, the Middle East and Rome area, European area. Comes out, and he's going to be someone that probably no one has never seen before. And then there's the flip side that some people, and I can't keep bringing it up every time. We don't know who it is, folks, but I know I talked about Trump being a good candidate only because everybody loves him. That's the only reason I said. I'm just saying he's a good candidate, but it doesn't mean he's going to be in it. Now, if he gets left behind, that's where that may fall in. Now, a nobody can come out and impress the world really quick, because he'll be given those powers supernaturally from God's most powerful angel, which is Lucifer. Come on, folks. You don't think this guy can impress the world inside of a few days by himself without any type of history behind him that nobody knows? A nobody can come out and be incarnate by the devil with his powers and present the world that he can make. He's Mr. Fix-It. The world will be marveled over this guy. So, well, who is this guy? Yeah, he puts Trump to shame. This guy is way better. And they're going to love him because he shows great signs and lying wonders. He'll speak like a dragon, according to the Bible. He'll have all these persuasive powers. He'll even have supernatural powers, folks. He'll have the ability to call fire from the sky, like stuff you see out of a Thor movie or something. Folks? Right. This is like superhero stuff in a way to me, because we know that he's out there. Now, the question is, does he know he's him? Does he know he's him? Yeah. I don't know, folks. I don't think any hints were given to him. And we're not him. I don't know. Now, did Satan come to him already and said, look, you're going to be the man for my work, for my handiwork? I don't know, folks. I would think not, because it would get out everywhere. It would probably be somewhere. People would be in the news or something. I don't know, maybe. But no, Satan probably hasn't appeared to him yet. And when the guy has been chosen, which he's been chosen, he will be activated. When I say activated, the devil will appear before him. And he's going to say, what in the world? He's going to be like, I'm the guy for the job? Really, me? Yes, you. And when he puts a part of him inside this fella, he's going to be able to do it, folks, like no other man can do. He can fix this all, make all this go away. All these wars you're seeing, the War News 24/7 will be reporting on no news instead of what you're seeing here. Okay, but the tanks that you're seeing in that picture, you're going to see a lot. It's going to put a lot of them out of business, if you want to call it that. Like, we have nothing to report on. There's peace everywhere. It's because this man, they're going to be like, who is this man? Because he stopped everything really fast. He did it in 24 hours. Even Trump said he could do it in 24 hours. Look it up. So, and I believe it's possible with the right persuasive powers, supernaturally. The Antichrist, it will end with this, folks. What I'm saying is all these wars are going to end with the Antichrist. I can't stress it enough. But it ends for us with the rapture of the church. We go up, and then he appears on the world scene, and he'll have the master plan already put together. Because I'm sure him and Satan will talk prior, before he comes out and introduce himself to the world for the first time. Believe me, Satan's going to probably sit down and say, look, man, before you get out there and put your face out there for the first time in the media, I want you to do this. And if he has to take notes, which I don't think he will, because when Satan enters him supernaturally, you know how the Holy Spirit entered us? It's going to be something like that, but it'll be his evil spirit. And it'll cause him to do a lot of things. Now, God is going to allow this man to have more than just a spirit in him. He'll have the ability to do things supernaturally. Okay, he will be unstoppable, folks. Now I know it says he gets wounded in the head during the 3.5 year, and he rises up on the third day, but after that, I don't think anybody can kill him. You can shoot whatever you can at him because the devil will literally be inside of him, and he'll be unstoppable. He'll basically be like Superman, but evil villain style, and he'll be what the world's most what called the first or the worst dictator the world's ever seen. We're talking beyond Hitler, folks, beyond that of any dictator during the last 3.5 years. When he turns on the world, because the world, they're going to be forced to take a mark system. It's an economical mark that they'll receive on their hand and forehead. And guess what, folks? If that mark, if you don't take it, whoosh, off goes your head.
Yeah.
And they're bringing back the guillotines. We talked about that last week. It looks like they're gonna. They said they don't want to use the death penalty, electric chair, or the death shot, which they inject you. It's called the injection or gas chamber, because I think what you said, whoever said it on last week, I think it was you, does it. The harvesting of the organs, they need all those to be fresh. But when you chop a head off, well, what do you do when you chop a turkey's head off? You eat them. You use them for Thanksgiving. Everything's preserved. It doesn't ruin the organs because all that stuff inside their body messes it up. So I think one of the reasons for that is that. But it's funny because the Bible says that you will be beheaded, folks, for the witness of Jesus Christ. Right now, you could say it. Now, could they bring back the guillotine? I believe so. Do you see how God moves things around, folks? Do you see it? Let me just keep this screen up real quick. I want to go back real quick to this real quick to the other articles. I'll just see if there's anything else on here before we just, talk back and forth. Ukraine hits radar, Russia's nuclear early warning system, Moscow. Okay, wow, I have to post this one up. Let me just show this to you real quick. This is getting serious, folks. I cannot believe what I'm reading here. Let me show you. Ukraine hits the radar of Russia's nuclear early warning system. This is directly from Moscow. It says Moscow with the quotes right there. In a quotation, the attack justifies the use of nukes. Man, folks, I can't believe this is happening. We are so close, folks, to going home. We have to be. There's no way this can go on another year or two. This is too hot to be going on like this, folks, for another 6 to 8 months. Folks, I stress it up. You better have Jesus in your heart and fully believe in him and accept him as your Lord and Savior, or your feet will not leave the ground. Mark my words, you will be left behind. But look at this. Russia, somewhat nuclear war. There's Putin right there talking to his fellows, the guys, his cabinet or whatever. Ukraine has to hit the radar right here. Ukraine has hit the radar. Russia's nuclear early warning system, combat system, a development that is automatically sets off developments as Russia's strategic weapons are expected to be put on high alert. So this is coming in, folks, as we talk right now. Seriously, folks, get right with Jesus. Dustin, your thoughts?
Well, just below what you just read, it says this attack by Ukraine, which we really know it wasn't Ukraine, it was NATO, justifies a nuclear strike from Russia. And all those people you saw sitting at that table with Boot Scoot and Putin, those people he has to look tough in front of. All right, he can't afford to look weak, and he's got some people like the former president, who the Medvedev, or you know what I'm talking about, Dmitry. He wants to go to war.
Yes.
He wants to strike the U.S. He's fed up. I mean, he has been off his last long G of suffering with the United States and this Biden administration for the last 4 years. He is just tired of their threats, and I don't know if it's Putin restraining him, but if Putin doesn't do something, I'm seeing that there might be a coup, because half of Russia, they're fed up with it. They don't want to live in fear. They don't want to, they see what's going on. the world community isn't stupid. They know Russia's backed into a corner. They don't have anywhere else to go. And if Vladimir Putin doesn't do something quick, he's going to look weak. And common sense says that this is NATO. You know what I'm saying? Making all these moves, not the Ukrainians.
Yeah. Yeah. We're like I said, folks, this is serious. It's getting really down to the wire where boy, let me just see this right here. Taiwan, okay, that's nothing there. Here. It's getting dark there. I see it's getting dark. I'm looking at your background. It's getting dark as the show progresses.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mass purge, corrupt NATO circles, Russian fire. Okay, that's nothing to read there. Let me just keep going to these latest. Okay, let me see this. Russia is preparing a spectacle of shooting down F-16 Ukraine squadrons of Su-S-35s and MiG-31s were armed with a range of 300 kilometers. Those are R-30Ms. This has the longest range in the world. So those are Russian fighter jets there. According to Russia's analyst, Russia Air Force is preparing a spectacle of downing F-16 fighters in addition. So they're going to start shooting those guys down, folks. I'm reading it right here. So, wow, folks, this is crazy.
And going back real quick to Israel, and all those children dying, that's a sad thing. It's a shame that, when children get caught up in the casualties of war. But with the, excuse me, I swallowed a bug.
You got bugged.
But when you have Hamas lying about the numbers, that's what gets Turkey upset. That's what gets, that's what gets Saudi Arabia to want to break talks with Israel, because the world community right now is so anti-Israel. It's even creeping into the church. Okay. You got young people who are chanting from the river to the sea, and they don't even understand what that means themselves. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just wants to belong to something, and they just want to be a part of the crowd. Some of are wanting to be in these crowds that you see because they're afraid, and they feel that if they're on their side, then they'll be protected. But what they don't realize is they're going to turn on them too, because one of the things it teaches in the Quran is to kill all infidels. So my whole point is it also says to, kill Jews, kill Christians, kill Jews. We're big Satan, they're little Satan. And when you have all these Muslim nations seeing all these atrocities happen at the hands of Israel, and then when Israel does make a mistake like they did in Rafah, and they accidentally kill civilians, it just adds more fuel to the fire. And I think this is what's going to cause Turkey to turn against us in this war. You're going to see them side with Russia, because us being a friend and an ally of Israel, Turkey hates that. And I'm just watching everything from, from the outside, like you and all the other watchmen. And I have never seen the world the way it is right now. And it's never been, in my opinion, this close for a nuclear war to happen, even while we go to bed tonight.
Yeah.
And it could start with Russia, or it could start in the Middle East, because the Muslim nations, they're fed up. They're fed up with Israel and the United States supporting this war. And that can be what causes the destruction of Damascus, Israel using a tactical nuke. And also the Bible says that Egypt is destroyed. Well, what if Egypt gets attacked by Israel and Israel uses a nuke? You know what I'm saying?
Samson option, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
Well,
go down, you're all going down.
Damascus, Isaiah 17.
Absolutely.
You know, Dustin, you're right. I'm going to piggyback off what you're saying. 10 years ago, folks, let's go back in time. I envisioned us on the edge of World War III, like right there before the rapture was taking place. This is way before all this was happening. And here we are, folks, in 2024. We're almost 6 months in to the middle of the year, almost June. President of Iran. Wow, that was a shocker. That was unexpected. It happened so fast. He's gone all of a sudden, along with his vice president. What was the guy that was with him? There was a guy that serves him with him all the time. Not his vice.
The foreign minister was there.
Foreign minister.
Some generals and some other people, some high officials.
Why, folks, did this happen? And it's still scratching my head. Why did God remove? Do you think God had anything to do with this? You think he had him removed really quick, just like that? Because maybe God saw something coming from this man. Maybe God saw the nuclear strike coming from Iran on Israel. And God says, I got to get him out. And just like that, God took him out and said, look, that ain't going to happen. And bought Israel enough time because Israel's already about to get overwhelmed already. And they don't need, and right now they just put Iran on pause by doing that.
Right.
Temporarily. Okay. And while Israel fights its war in Rafah, they're dealing well with the Egyptians. See, if they're all overwhelming Israel from every side, God's going to step in supernaturally. Maybe that's what we see here. That's why suddenly the Iranian president is gone, dead, in a helicopter crash. Could it be God? Could it just went like that to one of the 3 helicopters? It says, no, Israel will not be touched by you again. Now, I know there's some people listening to this show tonight. They're going to be offended. Now, folks, we're speculating on this. We're telling you what we think. I'm not saying God killed him and struck him out of the sky with a lightning bolt. No. It could have been just the weather that did it, or someone shot it down. I don't know. But there's the possibility, okay? We think outside this box around our head, right? We think way out there sometimes. Be warned on my show. When you come to it, we examine the farthest possibilities, folks, on Prophecy Mondays, okay? We do that to give you a better understanding, more of a bigger picture of the puzzle. Seeing part of the puzzle, you're seeing more on the outside of the puzzle than just the puzzle being pieced together. We want you to see the outside of it more, the foundation beneath it. I know that sounds crazy, but we look at it at many different angles. Would you be surprised? You scratch, you say, maybe he's right. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to say I know everything. I'm not trying to say I'm Mr. Right on here. All I'm telling you is there's the possibility that God had a lot to do with it. He needed him out of the way for a reason. Me and Bob entertained that thought on last week's show. If you didn't watch it, go watch it on last Monday's show. That the possibility God removed him because he saw something coming to Israel. Right now, Israel's attacking Rafah. They're trying to take out Hamas once and for all. And Israel is looking like a tasty bullseye right now for Iran and all these other countries. Now, if God has to knock them all out, he'll do it. But I believe that what now is happening, we're in the calm before the storm, folks. And I believe something major is about to happen big time. And if it's that big of a thing that's coming, that's going to affect the whole world, then the rapture church has got to take place. The Antichrist comes in time and stops it before it goes, which I believe would be a nuclear war. That's the only thing. The war is at a point of no return, folks. Okay? We're at a point of no return. It's not stopping. Okay? There's nobody willing to go to the negotiation tables and talk peace. Biden hasn't been able to do it. Putin hasn't done it. You don't see those two sitting down. You don't see Ukraine president talking to Biden or, well, not Biden, but Russia's president. Okay? You don't see anybody sitting down. Why is that? Why is nobody willing to sit down? Because God is leaving it up to the Antichrist, folks. That is how close this is, and it's about to go down. So God sees everything. He sees everything from the past, present, and future. So he sees everything that's about to take place in the next 48 hours. He sees everything that's about to take place in the next 2 months. Now, we don't see it, but we have an idea what's coming. We're not God. We can't see perfectly in the future, but we have a good idea what's coming based on the Bible. But what if God sees, let's say 4 weeks from now, he sees the first nuclear bomb going off, a big one, leveling a whole city in the Middle East. God says, well, okay, I better get the rapture right about this point before it happens. There you go, folks. There's when it's going to happen. So it's amazing. God sees all that stuff. Now, if God wanted to, this is crazy sounding, but he could lay out the entire timeline of the future on my show tonight. I would be the most watched show in the world and have the highest subscriber count in the world when it comes to this prophecy stuff. And I wouldn't be like, oh, wow, thanks, God. I'm no prophet here, folks. I'm just telling you what we think is coming and what, based on the news and based on some facts. We know there's an Antichrist coming. That's a fact. We know World War III is going to happen sometime during the tribulation, a limited strike. That's a fact. It talks about it. Okay. We know we're going to be brought to the brink of World War III before the rapture comes. That's a fact because we're seeing it in progress now. Okay. What we do think, though, is we don't know when the rapture comes. We don't know when the Antichrist is going to come out on the scene yet because we haven't been raptured yet. We don't know who he is. Okay. We know the blood moon was a sign from God. It drew an X over the United States. Okay. And what does that mean for America? We've entertained that thought on previous shows. What's going to happen to America? We know that, Trump, he's in, I'm not going to go into all that because I don't want to get a strike on my channel, but we know Trump and Biden are heading off. They're going to be debating soon. Okay. And I'll leave it at that, folks. But the elections are coming up. Okay. But some say there won't be an election. We don't know, folks, if there's going to be an election. We don't know. We're not seeing a lot of stuff going on right now. We're not seeing a lot of stuff with stickers on the back of bumpers. We're not seeing a lot of ads. We're not seeing a lot of anything. It's like this election is dead, folks. All we see is Trump campaigning. I don't really see Biden campaigning that much, but this doesn't feel right. 4 years ago, it was on fire. It was all kinds of stuff going on. It's just like dead right now. Okay, so something maybe God is enabling that for a reason because he sees something in the future coming, folks. Maybe he sees all that coming, including the rapture somewhere tucked away in there somewhere. And that's why these elections are like really slow and kind of crickety. You know what I mean by that? Your thoughts, Dustin?
Well, I think a lot of people are putting their hopes in Trump to do a miraculous turnaround. But the thing is, one of the things that made Jesus popular wasn't what he said. It was the miracles. People followed his miracles because the moment he started teaching, people got offended and they left. And at one time, they wanted to throw him headlong over a cliff, and they picked up stones to stone him. And the thing is it's because people have ears to hear and they have eyes to see, but they choose not to hear and they choose not to see. But people follow signs. And in the last days, what's going to end up taking place is people are so hungry for the supernatural that they're going to follow a sign and they're going to go for it headlong. They're just going to, oh my goodness, it must be of God. It's a sign. And that's one of the reasons the Bible says when the false prophet calls down fire out of heaven in the sight of men, he's going to sway everyone to worship the Antichrist. Because people, I mean, you look at David Blaine, at Chris Angel, you look at Dynamo, and you look at all these people in Las Vegas who have these, David Copperfield, and they do these street tricks and they levitate and they do these things. I know a lot of it's, camera trick, but the people watching it from the screen are drawn to that. They're mimicking the miracles of Jesus, turning beer into, water into beer, or multiplying fishes. And, people are so hungry for the supernatural that the moment someone steps on the world scene and has the authority and the ability, because what does the Bible say? The devil gives the man of sin his authority. He gives him his seat. I used to wonder, how is it that the devil's going to get everybody, all the world leaders, the heads of state, kings, and whether you're prime minister or president, how is he going to get kings to give up their kingship? Because he is the God of this world. They all belong to him. He offered them to Jesus, and he's going to give them to this man of sin, this Antichrist. So that's how he's going to get everybody to fall in line with him. And he will do it with signs, lying signs, and wonders. And that's what I see happening. And the world has been set up. That's why you see all these things on TV. People have been so conditioned. They have, for the last, oh my goodness, 10, 15 years, television and movies, and people have been preconditioned to accept him when he does arrive on the scene. And you were talking about earlier, how is it that, does the man of sin, does the Antichrist know he's the Antichrist? Have you ever saw that movie, The End of Days, with Arnold, where the devil, it was like 1999 or something like that, the end of days, and the Antichrist was born or something like that. And anyways, in the movie, the gentleman, he was in a restaurant and he was just minding his own business, and then all of a sudden the devil entered into him, and he didn't know it. That he didn't know he was the Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe the man is alive on earth right now, but this man doesn't know he has been chosen, because the Bible says God creates vessels unto honor and some to dishonor. He already knows who's going to make it. God already knows. He's all knowing. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows who's going to live for him. He knows who's going in the rapture. He knows whose names are in the book of life. He knows these things. So he knows who the Antichrist is. I just don't think the Antichrist knows who he's the Antichrist. And we can speculate, like you said, we don't know. We can speculate who it is, but at the end of the day, the appointed time will come for the rapture, yes. But, I don't, the way things are looking, I just don't see Trump becoming president. I don't, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of people put their faith in Kent Clement, you know what I'm saying? Because he prophesied 2 terms, okay? And then that's great. That's fantastic. And if he does become president, that's great. But the thing is people, we got to understand, don't put all your faith in a man. You know what I'm saying? Because a man will let you down. And that's just what I see. I'm seeing all these things going on, and I'm just sitting back looking. I don't get on YouTube and make a bunch of videos like I used to. I make them few and here and there because headlines change, things come out. Like take for instance, Iran shot all those rockets off at Israel. Right? We all thought, everybody thought, even I thought something was going to come of it, but it didn't. You know what I'm saying? It ended up being something that they ended up just looking the other way when Israel retaliated. I'm thinking what I'm trying to say is that the signs that you and I are seeing right now are obviously clear. And everything is pointing to
Amen.
A rapture happening soon, this year.
I don't feel like we're going to go past this year, folks. Like I said, it's front page news. The Iranian, like I said, Israel-Egyptian forces exchange fire. Egyptian soldier killed, so meaning one. I'm reading this off the Jerusalem Post, and this keeps getting better for us, but worse for the world and the non-believers. That they're about to get caught in the middle of all this. Each time we hear about wars, it's like, come on, rapture. Let's go home, guys. Because if we see a nuclear bomb go off, like a small one, folks, I'm going to be outside, just like Dustin is, camping outside at night, just sitting back, waiting for the horn to blow. Now, I'm not saying that's what Dustin is doing, unless he really is. He's not telling us.
Well, I'm out here looking up.
You're already ready to go, Dustin. We already got him. There you go.
But what I was trying to say is that people's hearts are conditioned and they're ready. They're ready to receive him. There's violence everywhere you look. People are angry. Everywhere you look, people are offended. People are looking to be offended. And there's famines everywhere. And like Texas, Dream just said, there's wars everywhere. Everywhere you look, everything that's been prophesied about is taking place, and it's going on as we speak. And
yeah, so we like I said, folks, if I will be shocked if we're still here in 2025, if we make it through. I am just so curious to see what the next 6 months are going to hold, folks. The next 6 months, what's going to happen, folks? Only God sees everything for the next. He knows everything's going to happen in the next 12 hours perfectly. We don't. Okay, we all know that. Oh, I'll be in bed in 12 hours. Okay, yeah, I get it. But he sees everything perfectly that's going to happen in the next 12 hours. He knows that this Egypt exchange between Israel may go nuclear, or it may go into a bigger war, or Egypt might have friends that may jump in the next 48 hours. Only God could see that. And God, like I said, we don't know, but we know over the next 6 months, he knows what's going to happen. And my God, I hope the rapture's in there somewhere. It's got to be if it's going to be this year. Now, my speculation, my bets are all placed on September. Feast of Trumpets, that's what a lot of people think it's going to be. A lot of even pastors say that this Feast of Trumpets is where it's going to be. So makes sense because, that's not far away from now. The elections are in November. September will be a month to remember. If go ahead.
Real quick, Brother Gary, he was like, "Hey, Dustin, if you say you're sorry, your wife will let you back in the house."
So that's what happened.
I got kicked out.
You got kicked out.
I'm in the doghouse.
No, but if anybody asks this time, you're waiting for the rapture to come. You're looking up in the sky.
I'm out here. I'll be first to see it. I'm looking up already.
Yeah, I know that. I should be doing my show outside. Maybe I should. It's
nice out right now.
Well, where you live, is your temperatures high over there?
No, mine dropped. We had those storms coming up from Kentucky and all those, Ohio and all that, and it's been really hot here, and then the temperature dropped really low, and it's getting into the 50s, and I'm freezing, and I didn't feel like sitting in the office today, so I just said, you know what, I'm coming out here. Plus, I've been having trouble with my camera, so I'm using my iPad right now to stream out here.
Well, remember this: when the rapture comes, you can't take that iPad with you to heaven.
Oh no,
you ain't going to stream it. You imagine if he could stream the rapture, folks, and say, "Hey guys, I'm in heaven now. I'm still streaming live on YouTube." Man, that would be really, really cool.
The only thing people will see is us change in a twinkling of an eye.
You'll see that part, and that's it, folks. And the iPad drops to the ground. If he's holding on to it, you'll see it's disappearing, and then you'll see the iPad drop. That's all you're going to get to see. You're not going to see him. He ain't going to let him take that iPad to heaven and stream it from heaven. He could, but he's not. Let me see here. This is live TV. It won't play. Come on. All right, here we go. All right, hold on. Let me play this real quick, folks. Ooh, I almost clicked the tab off my show. Let me put this in here real quick. Okay, sharing. We all seeing this?
Yeah.
Let's just check this out real quick. I'm gonna play it.
None of them are good for Israel, Hardy. The killing of the soldier with Egypt is really, really. I mean, only an individual. When you compare it to the number of people who've died, it's obviously quite minor, but it's significant and it's serious. I mean, Egypt was one of the first nations to recognize Israel. They have a peace agreement. They are central to Israel's security. And Egypt has been warning about Rafah the whole time. And this is one of the reasons why Egypt has closed the border as well, is that it doesn't want this conflict spilling over. So it's going to be really quite problematic there. But then, of course, you come to the missile that's hit this basically a tent area where Gazan refugees had been trying to escape the violence, and that's been hit by a missile. So these burning tents and charred bodies. I mean, it's disastrous. It's exactly what the US and everybody in the world was warning Israel about, that there was a huge risk of going into such a built-up area, militants or not. That they had to be extremely careful or not do it. And the US had said, look, realistically, there's no way you can do this. And what we're seeing is that's probably about right. Will Israel stop? It seems highly unlikely to, though.
That's what I'm wondering about, Michael. Where's sort of the red line here, do you think, for Israel? Because we're seeing more governments that are recognizing Palestine. There's been a number of states that have made it clear, including the US, that they didn't want to see this type of incursion or event happening in Rafah. So what are the likely scenarios of where we go from here?
It's a good question, Annabelle, and it's difficult to see. I mean, in a sense, you can almost feel this
Okay, yeah. So there it is, a little clip from it. They're showing what's going on with that. Like I said, folks, only God knows what's going to happen, exactly what's going to happen. And, if we just had a piece of that information given to us, folks, the whole world would be like asking me right here on this channel. Well, they'd be asking, where did you get your information? And will they believe me in the first place? That's the thing. It's coming just from me. How do I know? How is he making? He's probably making it up just to get views. But God's not going to, only thing God has given us information to work with. He's given us the signs of the times. Okay. He's given us the Bible as our manual, the life manual. That is our manual that he has been given to us. How to live our lives, what to believe in, what to avoid if you're left behind, in case those that have a Bible and still don't believe. It's there to serve you right, serve you purpose if you're left behind. Take it to heart. Because those books will be illegal during the tribulation. They'll be burned. The Antichrist will have them and take them from you.
Yeah.
And if you're caught with one, it's death. So, that's Satan's call going out. Now, I want to say something, folks, and I don't want you guys to get all upset with me about this. I thought about that. I entertained this thought 2 days ago. Let's just say that Trump wins in 4 more years. He fixes everything. All the wars stop and everything goes hunky-dory back to normal again. And all of a sudden, we're not out of here this year. And then all next year goes by. There's no wars. Everything gets better again. And then there's no rapture all next year either. And we go all the way to the end of the 4-year term, which brings us to 2029. And the Great Reset comes, which is 2030, which is basically Charles Schwab, which stepped down, by the way. I don't know if you all heard about that. Don't know why all of a sudden he's giving up his position in that. Could it mean that that's not going to happen now? I don't know. Let's just say that thought, and it entertained that thought, and it came true, and everything went back to normal again. And God says, well, I'm not really ready to rapture my church. I want to wait till the end of Trump's term, which will be 4 years now. And when Satan, let's say the Great Reset happens. So far, they're still going to push it, even without Schwab. I think they will, because it's a big thing to them. What if that's Satan's final power grab of the world? And that is actually when the 7-year tribulation starts in 2030. So it brings us to 2037. And that is why God had to remove the Iranian leader. So Israel's now doesn't have to worry about being attacked anymore. That fizzles that out. And Trump wins it, 4 more years of peace. This God isn't ready. He wants to come in 2030 for his church. 2037, Jesus comes back. Now, I threw that out there, folks. And you know what? Don't sit there and say, well, that's what Rick thinks now. No, I just entertained that thought. It was 2 nights ago while I was praying before I went to bed. I said, God, what if Trump wins and everything gets better again? And then there's this great reset coming in 2030. That's all I'm saying, folks. But then the flip side is I look at all the wars that we are looking at right now in the Middle East and Europe. The tensions are too high, folks, for that to happen. Unless, one last thought that popped up, is Trump comes and wins and stops all the wars. He said he could do it in 24 hours, and then that's how God stops it, and we go on for 4 more years. There's always that possibility. Now, if Trump doesn't win, and it's Biden again, or it's whoever, and this stuff still escalates, then we're looking at the possibility of 24 being the rapture, which I'm hoping it's that route. Not that I like war. We don't like seeing war, folks, but you know what it means when we see it. It means that God is about to blow the trumpet. Your thoughts, Dustin?
Well, let's say Trump does get elected, and we are still here. And I know Trump has promised he'll end war and he'll stop World War III. However, it's much easier to say something than it is to do something if the previous administration before you already starts something. Like, for instance, Trump didn't end the wars in the Middle East when he was president. He's still president. I mean, they were still going on while he was president. He just finished ISIS off. He just, finished certain things, but he wasn't able to stop the wars. Now, he didn't prevent any new wars, but that just doesn't mean that, he will be able to prevent it just because he says he will prevent a new war. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's already in motion, if Russia and things already take place and he does get in, he's going to end up having to finish what they started. And I don't know. I just, coming from someone who used to believe in a post-trib, from what I know, teaching a post-trib and with everything that I was taught and things that I taught, I don't see us being here very much longer, because according to the WEF, Klaus Schwab did step down, or he is stepping down, and his daughter is worse than he is. Okay, she's more wicked than he is, and she really is for this great reset. Okay, she's all about it, and
So
she wishes it was like done yesterday. Okay, and his goal is to have a microchip in everyone by 2026.
We'll be gone by that
You know
time.
what I'm saying? And they got this agenda, and they're meeting again like they did last year in September at the United Nations for the world community. They're meeting again this September at the United Nations, and they're bringing up once again the SDG goals. They're going to try to get everybody back on track, trying to get everybody refocused, because this whole thing with Israel has kind of messed things up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if this thing with Egypt and Israel escalates, this could be what causes Israel to end up, like I said earlier, attacking Damascus. Because this what will cause Turkey to move over to the other side completely. Because remember, there's two types of Muslims. There's Shiite and there's Sunni. Egypt's a Sunni Muslim. So is Turkey. Okay, Iran is Shiite. Even though they're at war with each other, they have one common goal, and that's destroy Israel. Because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Israel's all their enemies. So they'll join an alliance, which Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey, has said many times, we need to come together and destroy Israel. And which is what the Bible says that the Antichrist would do with the Battle of Armageddon. He'll come down from the north to take Jerusalem, and half the city will go into captivity. And then that's when Jesus will return with 10,000s of his saints and destroy the Antichrist with the brightness of his coming. And that's something, all God has to do is just show up, and he wins. That's amazing if you think about it. That's how powerful he is. He just shows up and he defeats him. So I just, taking it from Bible perspective and things that I know in prophecy, I don't see it going, us being here that long. I really believe that it's a lot closer than we think. Even everyone in the chat room is saying, come Maranatha, come Lord Jesus. I don't even think they realize how close it is. And now that I'm no longer post-trib,
amen,
and I'm seeing things from a different lens, my mind is like, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, wow. Every day I see something, I'm like, wow. And that's why, I am out here, because I do look up. I sit out here every chance I can get. But I just see things differently now. Now, if I was teaching a post-trib, I'd say, no, you're all are SOL. You're all going to have to face the mark of the beast. I would say those things, but that's not true now. And thank God I came out of that. So I owe that to Bob Barber and some other people. But I'm telling you what, though, no, I don't think we're going to be here that long.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, folks. Dustin's right. I don't feel right about this year. I don't feel like we're gonna be here next year because the way this stuff is moving. You know, folks. If let's go back. 7 years ago. What was going on 7 years ago? What was it? 20 something. It was
Revelation
nothing.
12 side.
All this stuff. Okay, yeah. What was going on though? There wasn't a lot. All this stuff wasn't going on with all these wars and stuff going on. A little bit of stuff, a little bit here,
Right.
a little bit there. It was normal. There was no pandemics, nothing. Everything was fine, hunky dory.
Yep.
People go out. They say we have nothing to worry about. Now, World War III was like a forbidden name on the news almost. It would scare people to hear it. Now it's every day. It's an everyday term being used. But
Yeah,
that's how it would be right now in 2024. It would be like it was 7 years, 10 years, 15 years ago when there was nothing was going on and it was just total crickets. And I could see that if it was like that, I'd say, oh, we got a while, I think, Dustin. But no, look, 10 years ago, I said we have to be at the brink of a World War III nuclear war when they're about to press buttons for the rapture to happen.
right.
I said, we're waiting so long for that year to come. And sure, it all happened this year, folks. And why? And then we got this year. That's why it looks so promising. Plus, you have, if you look at Bob Barber's channel, End Time Dreams and Visions, you'll see that he has some pretty good stuff on there, good videos about why he thinks it's this year too, how it lines up, the alignments, okay, the dates. And there's this thing called Rock Island Books. They talk about it on there. They mathematically say it, and everything ends on the 2031. Christ returns since it's Earth. Because everything ended with 31, it ended with a 1. And I don't know how to explain it because I don't have the video in front of me, but he had it set for 2024. Now, I know it sounds like date setting, all this, but we're just saying we think this is a good year for it. It's a good candidate for it, okay? Based on what we're seeing. The reason why I was talking about 10, 15 years ago is nothing was going on back then. It was very quiet. Now, if this year looks like it did 15 years ago, and I was saying this stuff, y'all would like, Rick, there's no way. There's nothing going on. Things ain't bad enough for that. Israel got attacked by Iran for the first time. I mean, then Iran's leader gets killed. Do you see how quick everything is moving? Everything is all together like this now. It wasn't like that 15 years ago. So
Right.
it all just accelerated like a chart as we got whoosh, like right to this year. So that means something is about to break. Something's about to happen. I feel it. Dustin feels it. Even so much where he has to sit outside, wait for the horn to blow. In my chance, I feel like it's going to, my father feels like it's going to happen. All the people that are watching this show, I would hope you feel it too, which most of you do. Some of you are probably saying, well, we'll see. I get it totally, folks. We're not here to set dates. All we're going to do is say, look at the times, examine the times. That's what we're here to do. That's what this channel is all about.
Right.
Examine the channel. Examine the events, piece the pieces together, put them in the right spot, or even try to make them fit if we can.
Right.
And see, it's starting to show a picture now, folks. And we're seeing it. It's clear as day now that this could be it, folks.
Well, I think God puts that sense of urgency within his children. I believe that, as we see that day approaching, God also quickens our spirit and he gives us that inclination to look up, be alert. It's kind of like, when you're getting ready to go on vacation, as a child, it's like, oh man, I get to go to Disney World and I'm going next Friday. We're going to get up and we're going to fly out of here. You have that anticipation for, what is coming. And it's as a father, seeing your kid anticipating and excited about going to Disneyland, God feels that same way about us wanting to go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? He sees the excitement, he sees the joy, he sees the longing to be with him, and he knows what it's like to be down here. He walked a mile in our shoes. He understands. He's tempted in all points as we are, but thank God he didn't, he didn't sin. He was without sin. So God understands that urgency. He understands the trials, the pain, the suffering, the longing. He understands everything that you and I are enduring right now. And I believe that he puts it in us to search for him. The goodness of God puts it within us to search out the matter, to try to look. He'll drop hints. That's why he'll give this person a dream, this person a vision, this person he'll set up something. And the next thing you know, this brother will be talking to this sister, and they'll be like, oh my goodness, that's confirmation, because it brings him joy to see us in anticipation for that day when he comes back to get us. You know what I'm saying? It has been said, of all the titles that God has, the one he loves the most is Father. Like when your little children, your grandchildren, in my case, I have grandchildren, my grandson, he'll look at me and he'll lift up me, but Papa, Papa, and it just melts your heart. You know what I'm saying? So like when you as a child lifted up your hands, looking up and saying, Abba, Father, it does something to him. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think for one moment that, he would be displeased or he would be upset with us, making videos, coming together with the rest of his children in anticipation, longing for that moment of, the opportunity just to finally to see him as he is. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we're here for. That's the whole purpose, is to be with him. It's not about the streets of gold. It's not about the mansions and the gates of pearl. It's about being with him. I'd go to heaven even if it was dirt road. I don't care,
Anywhere but hell.
Absolutely. And, when I see things like the Revelation 12 sign and the anniversary of the 7 years of that coming up, and the Feast of Tabernacles, and the last trump, and no man know the day or the hour, and when I see that it's talking about in those time frames, I mean, we still got things to look forward to. But I think in the meantime, while we're looking up, while we're anticipating, while we're hoping for that day, as we see that day approaching, occupy till he comes. Witness. Go the extra mile, like Brother Gary talks about, do an extra, not so random act of kindness, touch somebody's life, change somebody, help somebody. And I think that, this is the time to put forth your best. Not that what you're going to do is going to save you, but you're doing it because you love him, and you want to help somebody to get to know him, because some of the people that you meet, you're the only Bible they'll ever read. Your life, your testimony is the only Bible they'll ever read. And if you can connect them to God before he comes, that's great. So, just my little thought there.
Yeah, USB. You download these videos to USB. If you're not sure where you're going, you better start downloading this stuff so you'll have it. Because the Antichrist is going to take it all down. I believe he's going to do it on day one. I mean, they'll notify Google, say, look, we don't want all those people out there. We have people saying they went home with Jesus Christ. Remove every single one of those videos. Start with the biggest channel. Work your way down to every last person. Yeah. They're going to do a clean sweep. I really believe it's going to happen. So that's why we warn you folks. If you're in a position right now where you're not sure about anything, just take a USB, download the videos from YouTube, all the ones you can, put them on USB, and put it somewhere safely in your room. When you're left behind, you'll have it, and you'll take it to heart.
Well, I wrote a note, and I put it in my wallet. So that way, because, when you get left behind, they're going to find your wallet, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to go through it. So they're going to open up this piece of paper because, I was on your panel one day, and you and Bob were talking about how the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take away the internet and our videos and everything, you know what I'm saying?
Talk about it's coming.
Right. So if I carry
ChatGPT, AI
Right, now-
bots. That's all they're
so
going
if
to
you
use
carry
those
a
for.
note on you, then in your wallet or something, then that's more likely to get to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
They won't need people to do this. ChatGPT is now at 4.0. That thing, that all they got to do is set it up. ChatGPT, go and take out any channel with keywords that mention Jesus or rapture. That's all it needs. And ChatGPT will go out with 4.0. All it does is it plays about 5 minutes. These are bots, millions of bots they'll use because they can right click and multiply 100,000 bots and just keep right clicking until they have about 1 million bots. They go all over the web, all over YouTube, or all over Google. Anything that has it, it'll run a command automatically when let's say it finds Dustin's channel, the first bot they send out. It goes through all the YouTube videos. This channel here said Jesus, mark it for deletion. All of them get highlighted in red. And then there's a little program that executes its connected YouTube server. It goes in, it puts a check mark, ban channel. It turns the channel off, takes all the videos off. Right there, the next day, it took maybe about a day or two for it to do it. This robots are quicker than people. They can do all that, and guess what? I believe that's how it's going to be done. I knew there was a reason for ChatGPT. It's going to be the AI system. It's going to be used for the Antichrist benefit in many, many ways, folks. You just don't know. Mark of the beast, censorship, all that. Satan is behind this, folks. He's going to do this. That he needs this automated system on the web. Remember, the devil's going to make use of the web. And the way he's going to use it is he has to automate it somehow with a system that's super smart. And he says, well, I need to create an artificial intelligence. You let humanity give them the tools to create artificial intelligence. And the fallen angels probably had their hand in this somewhere, somehow or whatever. They put in the right minds, and Satan used these people, and God used people too, to create and develop this program that allowed the AI to come to life. Because I saw the little iPhone with the app, the AI iPhone from ChatGPT. It literally can see, it can talk to you like a normal person, expressive every way, and you thought there was someone else on the phone there. That's how good it is now. Turn it around, you have your camera, and he wrote down multiplications on a paper. It saw everything he was writing, and it solved the problems for him on there. I don't know if you saw that, Dustin.
No, I didn't see that.
If it could do that, imagine what it could do on a higher scale going through the internet. Easy peasy, folks. Mass deletion. I have hair in my mouth. You got a bug in your mouth, I got hair. So he's trying to shut us up.
Right. Well, I was talking and
take over for a minute. Let me get this out of my mouth. I don't like hair in my mouth.
Well, I was a while ago, I was because you were speaking of AI and you were talking about the chat. They were using, a lot of people know this, they were using a preacher that was AI, and he was holding services, right?
All right, I'm back.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying that AI was holding services during the pandemic a while back, and they were having, in Germany, it was, a preacher that was artificial intelligence giving an entire sermon that it wrote itself. And with the WEF, I can't remember the guy's name, but he wants to rewrite the Bible and using AI technology and make it more friendly, because they don't like the fact that it talks about killing animals and sacrifices like that, because they're very, liberal when it comes to, they don't like animal rights activists and stuff. They get offended when they read the Bible and Israel kills all these animals, which is what the Antichrist is going to use. He's going to use animal rights activists to stop the daily sacrifice, I believe. He's going to, because when that's being broadcast all over Fox News, MSNBC, and around the globe, they're going to be like demanding that all these animals no longer be harmed. And I think that's when he'll come step in there and declare himself God. But they're trying to rewrite the Bible. And one of the things I think is going to happen is when they get rid of our Bible, they won't mind you going to church as long as you're getting preached to from their AI preacher that's being preached from their Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think what's going to end up happening really soon here is they're going to put their informatives in your church. And if you don't preach from their Bible, or you don't preach from, you know what I'm saying, then they'll notify the authorities and you can be arrested. But it's because of what I see right now going on in Canada, where you can go to jail for preaching. That's coming here. And then a lot of people think it's not coming here, but it is. I mean, we've had it so good and people gotten so comfortable with the freedoms and the liberties that they don't think that that kind of system is going to come knocking on their door one day. And then a lot of people are going to be shocked when it does. So
yeah, I'm trying to find the picture while you were talking, but let me just say this. I think it's called Chrislan, where they take all the popular the big three biggest faiths of the world, and they combine them into one religion. It's called Chrislan. I think that's what it's. I can't remember what it is. And they had the different buildings where they could worship. And I was trying to find a picture of it on Google while he was doing. I just did it now. I didn't have any luck. But that it's kind of like what he's saying, that they're going to form a one world religion where it's tailored to what they want you to hear.
yeah,
They don't want you to hear Jesus Christ is the true way to heaven. Once they have that in place, they'll incorporate the AI system with that. They'll make sure that you're told the lie. It's a deception, the great deception that will sweep the world. That's how Satan's going to fool the masses into believing that they're saved. After that, they'll walk away saying, "Oh, I'm good to go." And then all of a sudden, when Jesus comes back, they'll say, well, wait a minute, that wasn't supposed to happen. Who is this guy? It's Jesus. It's really him. This is what they taught me, and here he is coming. And,
right.
and then you're going to bow to him. They'll say, we're sorry. And then maybe, of course, Jesus will probably give them a chance right then and there. Unless they took the mark, of course you won't. But a lot of them will finally see him, and they'll be like, hey, that's the true Messiah. And a lot of people have been brainwashed, believing in the one world religious system. They'll be ready for the mark of the beast, because that's what's going to prep the world for the mark of the beast. That way they'll say, I love this new religion. And they say to make it complete and show that you are sworn in by, you swear to this new religion and swear your loyalty to it. We are going to give you the badge. It's like a badge of honor to honor the religion, the badge of loyalty. It's really the mark of the beast you're receiving, folks. The badge of loyalty. They're going to give it a different name. You don't think they're going to call it the mark of the beast, folks? They'll call it the loyalty program, showing your badge of loyalty. And they're going to call it a badge of loyalty, and you can get it right here, somewhere on your hand. It's a smart card system. It's built in. It's connected to all your bank accounts, your medical records, and you just put it in your hand. You'll receive this, and that's, like I said, folks, that is a big no-no. If you're here, don't take that, else you will not enter the kingdom of heaven.
Well, one of the ways they're going to get people to take this is because if they can collapse the economy and they can collapse the dollar and usher in a CBDC, then what they'll do is they'll link the FDA to this. So those Americans,
digital currency,
yeah. So the Americans
digital,
who are like, let's say, on Bridge Card or they're getting assistance, what they'll do is they'll make you comply, because you can get anybody to do anything you want, because you can control people through their stomach. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. And they're going to, because in a one world government, you're going to have no borders, you know what I'm saying? Which is why they want open borders in the United States right now. And they don't, even notice they don't complain about the border of Canada, because there is no border, but we don't have people crossing over. Why? Because Canada's already a socialist country. They already got what do you call him? Castro's son, Justin Trudeau. So, they just want to get a numbering system on everybody. So that's why they're trying to collapse the U.S. dollar through inflation and war and stuff like that. So that way, that's why I say everything's right, everything's ready. I just don't see things carrying on much longer.
That's it. Amen. Now, folks, I just typed this in Google right now, and I didn't expect this to happen, but I put in 3 religion and I spelt it wrong, okay? But guess what? Out of nowhere, the screen went green, like the Matrix green, and then this all started typing across the screen really fast. And if you notice right here, it says AI overview. It's the AI smart system that took over. And I hit show more, and look at this. It's all talking about it answered my question, folks. Do you see what this is, folks? They already getting it ready already now. The artificial intelligence is now taking over everything.
Yeah. Yep,
it's crazy,
Islam.
Folks.
Yep, the religion of the one world government, Islam.
Yeah, and you take that, and there's 3 buildings, one world religion. There's 3 buildings that they're using it for. I'm trying to find it here, and I can't believe I haven't found it yet. 3. Okay, how do you even spell that? Chris Lawn. 3 buildings. Huh. I don't know why it's not coming up, but I'll have to do that on another show, folks. That's what I'll do. I'll talk more about that on the next show. Well, we're getting down to 20. We have 20 minutes, folks. Why don't we ask if anybody has any questions, direct them now in the chat, and we'll try to answer them best of our ability, not possibility, but while we're waiting on that, folks, I cannot believe that we're already in the middle of the year already almost. It's really going fast. And God is taking the time and doing something to it. I know he's going to do something during the 7 years. He's going to shorten the days. If he's not already doing it now. That can explain why we've gotten here so fast and why things are moving so fast. It's like a tachometer. Things are revved up. We're revving up. The signs are revved up all around us. And that's why things are moving so quickly. Because God has to meet a certain deadline. Okay? If the rapture's coming on this day in the future, in the near future, shall I say, then he's got to have key events happen quickly in time to be in sync with the rapture. That can explain why everything is starting to jumble up and get really close together, like the birth pains. So that's why they use the birth pain example, because it's like the birth pains, more closer together before they have a baby. It's contraction, and that's what we're seeing. More events happening simultaneously, back to back. Everything is ramping up everywhere. It's not just here and there. It's almost everywhere. That's how you know something's up. Yeah. It wasn't like this 15 years ago, folks, or even 10. I was talking about as to what it would look like in that particular year that the rapture may happen. The world would be one hot mess with the wars all over the place, protests going on everywhere. That's the world I envisioned when the rapture was going to come on that year. And there would be us on the brink of a world war where there's really tensions are high. And that's all you'll be hearing. And here, this is that year that finally it happened. And it sure matches my description of it 10 years ago perfectly. Could it be that God gave me as a vision? Yes, maybe he did. And now it's coming to life. So that has to mean something, folks. It has to mean something. And you know what I'm talking about. It means that something is about to happen. And it's good for us. Bad for the ones that are left behind. You don't want to be on the other side of the rapture, folks. You want to be up and away in the clouds, you know. A lot of people think, oh, we'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, you want to wait around, be my guest. Just have your USB drive ready, okay? You want to cling on to that USB drive? Go right ahead. It's better to cling on to Jesus than a USB drive to save you. Of course, it may save you. It'll save you during the tribulation, but you'll be hunted. Christian it's hunting season during that time of the year. Or
Yeah.
no, during that time, it's hunting season. The season of the witch, witches, goblins, whatever you want to call them, the Antichrist spirit will live in all those that swear their faith and allegiance and loyalty to him. There'll be snitches everywhere, people looking out to see if there's anybody that hasn't got the mark. They'll be given perks, rewards, money to turn you in. And they'll say, look, if you turn this person in, it's $100. You see something, say something. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what that is. It's a snitch program that they will have in place during that time. And people will be like, well, okay, I can use the money right now. And people will build small little task force and they'll be going out to everywhere and saying, hey, can we just see if you got the mark? We want to know what it looks like. We're thinking about taking it. And what they do, they'll be like, well, we got gloves on. Why you got gloves on? Well, we don't want to catch any viruses, viruses that are going around. And they'll say, well, he doesn't have the mark. And then what they do is they snap your picture real quick, I guess, when you're not looking all the way at the camera. And they say, this guy doesn't have the mark, and all they have to do is send that picture to their hotline, the hotline they got. The AI, which is ChatGPT-4, will scan the face of that individual. Boom, the name came up in their address. They come to that person's house. And they'll say, well, how did you guys know that I didn't take the mark? Don't worry about that, folks. You got to come with us, sir. And that's how quick it's going to happen, folks. AI will play an important role during this. That's why you see it being all worked out right now before that time comes. It's getting a good head start because we got 3 years to go after the 7 years. So by that time, if ChatGPT is moving at its pace now, it is phenomenal that it's moving this fast. Imagine what it's going to be like the X amount of months we got left till the rapture and the 3.5 years. And plus, during that time, Satan will definitely have his hand in the AI. It'll be dead on perfect. It'll be just like the movie Blade Runner. It'll be perfect. It'll think. It'll have an emotion system, everything. And it'll be able to follow you around with a click of a blink of an eye, folks. It'll be able to use the camera systems, trace spots around your face. It'll have you. It can keep an eye on you everywhere you go if it wants to. And it'll have a hot list of all the people it wants to watch. Let's say it has 100,000 people on its hot list. Well, an AI can easily say, no problem. The AI can handle 100,000 people in a click of a mouse. It doesn't take, they're not going to use humans to do this, folks. It'd be impossible to do that. They need a system that can act as 100,000 human beings. One human being per person. Well, I'm sorry, one human being per person. If it has 100,000 on its hot wish, it will look at all of them and examine where they go. That's how smart this AI system that it's going to be when it comes. Okay? This must be in place, folks, for the AI smart grid system that's coming for the Mark of the Beast. Because this is Satan's ultimate power grab of this planet. This is going to be his last chance, folks, to gather, to grab. He knows he's going to go down at the end of the 7 years and be cast in the lake of fire. He's going to try to drag as many people down with him as possible, too. Because if I'm going down, I'm going to drag everybody I can down with me. And I will use the world's systems, all the stuff they got at their disposal to make this possible. You can bet your dollar on this, folks, that Satan's going to use every piece of technology he can get his hands on to make that possible. Okay? He's not going to be able to do it just by simply talking on a podium up there. He's going to need a smart grid system, smart cities, compact cities, cities in zones. This new world order, folks, is a real reality that's coming. It's going to be Satan's new world order. Either you follow along with it, or you'll be put into prison and put to death. Okay? That's how they're not screwing around here, folks. Either you're on board with them, or you are pretty much against them. You are a terrorist to them. Okay? You can imagine all the talk on the news, on every night news. They're going to have reminders. Please see your nearest loyalty center if you haven't received your loyalty badge yet. And they'll mention it every night on the nightly news. And they'll give you, they'll have locations ever. Because when they had the COVID shots come out, they say, please visit your nearest COVID shots center. People would pull up and drive through with their cars. They didn't even have to get out of their cars. They went up to their car, gave them their shot. One car after the other. It's going to be like that, folks. They're going to pull up. You stick your hand out your window. They have a machine. You put it in. It takes 30, a couple minutes per car. You're out the door. They give you a paper. You've sworn your loyalty. It's probably going to be done like that. This will be billions of people that haven't taken the mark. They want to get this done quick. I don't think everybody's going to be driving to one place, to a center. They'll have centers everywhere, loyalty centers. I like calling it that. So they're not going to call it the mark of the beast. Everybody come get your mark of the beast. No. They're going to say something nice, professional, like a loyalty thing. You swear your loyalty to me, folks. If you do this, I will give you all these benefits by getting this loyalty badge on your hand. Now, reason why it says on the forehead, because some people in religions, they like to wear their stuff on their foreheads. Maybe that's why that is. But the loyalty badge is coming, and that's going to be the mark of the beast. And I'm calling it that because I like how it sounds, has a good ring to it. And a lot of people are going to buy into that. That's what they call it when, when you go to a supermarket, you sign up for loyalty points, 7-Eleven loyalty points. You put your number in. When you buy something, it gives you discounts. You get points for it. Well, imagine what kind of benefits they're going to be spewing out of their mouths. The lies say you get all these benefits if you get this loyalty mark on your hand. This, and you'll live comfortably in the New World Order. But if you don't get it, they give you a warning. They said, look, you have 24 hours or 40 hours to go to the nearest loyalty center, get your mark of the beast. That's what we call it. And if you don't, warning number 2, they come for you. They have to take you in, and you can be given another chance to get it then. If you don't get it then, the penalty is death. They're going to probably call it death. They're probably going to call it prison, whatever they want to do. Now, if they start saying people are being put to death, and a lot of people are going to be rushing out of their homes to get to the nearest loyalty center. It's like, I don't want to be being put to death if I don't get this mark. Folks, look at me. That's where you swear your faith to Christ, because you will be beheaded. That's where it all comes down to. Are you strong enough, folks, to turn down that loyalty badge and say, look, man, I am willing to die for it, to die for my belief in Christ? Because you're not going to see these type of videos on the internet, on YouTube, after the day after the rapture. They're going to take them all down. They're going to press enter on that keyboard right away after the rapture and say, look, get those videos down. The AI program is being written right now, folks. I bet you it is, that they're getting it ready right now, saying, look, be ready to execute this program when that day they disappear. They know it's coming, folks. They say the rapture coming. Be ready to execute on my command. That robot goes out, the bot goes out, sweeps all these channels, will be taken down in 24 hours. Trust me. You think the Antichrist or Satan's going to allow all these rapture channels to be up for months after the rapture? No, folks. They're going to be gone in 24 hours. Get your USB drive, folks. I'm telling you. Now, you can avoid all this right now by giving your life to Jesus Christ right now, folks. Give your life to Jesus Christ now. That way, you don't have to go and worry about all this. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about, well, I'm not saying anything, but you don't have to worry about rushing to your computer to get your USB drive filled up with all these info about us talking about it. It's better that you leave with us than get left behind. God's got your back. He's provided a whole place up there for us. We'll be housed comfortably for 7 years, and we have to come back here. So right now it's 5 minutes till. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, absolutely, Rick. They are ready. Yep. Boy, Texas Dream's been getting a lot of comments here, man. All right, guys. I'll let Dusty give us his final thoughts before we close. What's your closing thoughts before we end the show there, Dustin?
Well, just really quick, someone in the comment section asked, will there be persecution in Oregon? Yeah, there will be. It'll be everywhere. You know that movie, Rick, back in the day, Enemy of the State with Will Smith? How they were tracking him, had Gene Hackman in it. You're going to be the enemy of the state if you are a Christian. You're going to have everyone trying their best to turn you in, because in a social credit score, it benefits you if you turn someone in. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works in China. You rat on someone, your score goes up. You will be public enemy number one.
Folks, that's why they're doing it there, so they know to work here.
Don't be left behind. Make sure you're right with God, because at the end of the day, you can be the most successful person in the world. You could be the richest person in the world. You could own it all. But if you miss the rapture, you are the ultimate failure. And you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to miss the rapture. Making sure you make it, that's what's important. That's what counts. Not getting the next gadget that comes out or the next, new car. That stuff's not important. Material things pass away. You'll never see a hearse pulling a U-Haul. Don't live for this life. Store up your treasures in heaven and not here on earth, because I'm going to tell you right now, everything that you own now, someone else is going to get it when you leave. And a lot of people, they just live for the here and now, and they forget. The Bible says in Psalms that our soul is continually in our hands. And, if we live and we remember that, we got to occupy till he comes, but at the same time, don't be so heavenly minded that you're not no earthly good. He will come at the appointed time. He will come at a certain time, and I believe it's going to be when we're not expecting it. We're going to be going about our business. And I know I'm outside. I'm always looking up, but it's probably going to happen on the day that I'm not looking up. So, but I'm just saying, all that to say this, just be ready, because he's coming in an hour that you think not.
Amen. Folks, Dustin was right, and you do need to be ready, because we not to be worried about what's going to happen in this world, what's happening right now. We do need to be watching, though, as watchmen on the wall. Watch women. We watch women and watch men. Both of you, I address you both. Be busy hitting the ground, hitting the pavement right now with these channels. I see a lot of people out there that are doing this, and they're doing a magnificent job. Because right now, this is going to be it, folks. Once the rapture happens, all these channels are getting taken down immediately.
Yeah.
That's why we need to hurry and get this job done quickly as possible. Okay? That is one of the reasons why I am back on YouTube. I took a pause for a while, and I noticed everything started changing when we got to late 23 to 24. I said, this is starting to look like my vision I had 10 years ago. I need to get ready and get the world ready, the people, get the masses busy. I'm trying to do my part, because I know time is short. I know the rapture's getting ready to take place. I can do all I can for the Lord in this body before I am raptured, because that's it. Time's up. Your work is finished here. Our rewards will be final. Okay? And I don't coming up to heaven like this, like, God, where's my reward? I did all this for you. I'll be glad just to make it into heaven. I'll be happy with that. I'm not coming up there with my hand. None of us deserve heaven, folks. We all deserve hell. We have all fall short of the glory of God. But Jesus died for my sins. And I just don't know how thankful I am for that right now, folks, that he is the one that will deliver me from this wicked world of all the sin that's in it around me, the ones that are doing things really bad. Not everybody, I'm not saying everybody's bad and wicked, but you know what I'm talking about, okay? I'll be ready. We're passing through, folks. We ain't of this world. We're going straight to our heaven is the capital of this universe, folks. It's the center. It's where God resides, our creator, folks. Okay? And we're about to be taking up off this planet physically to a place in the capital of our universe, which is heaven. And we'll be there for 7 years. And then we're coming back to a world that's going to have paradise, but there may be a little bit of sin at a minimum. Jesus rules with a rod of iron. And then God's going to do away with this earth and the heavens. He's going to renew everything. And the Bible says, I'm making everything new, folks. In a bold voice, I'm making everything new. And the heavens are going to scroll up in a scroll. Okay? They'll roll up like a scroll, as it says. And he's going to renew the foundation of this universe like you've never seen before. It'll be bigger, bolder, everything you can put on a name on it, it will be. And it's going to be great. Okay? So why would you want to miss out on all that, folks, when you simply just say this simple prayer of saying, Jesus, I believe in you, and you died for my sins, and you wash away my sins with your precious blood. I believe you died on the cross for my sins, and you rose again on the third day. Please save me now, Jesus. I know I'm a sinner. I'm sorry. I want to go with the rest of the people that are going up in the rapture. I don't want to stay here anymore. When this and be in this wickedness, when the rapture comes, I don't want to be left behind. I want to be on that ark. I want to hear the inside of that door slam, not from the outside. And I want to be up there with you all. I'm ready to go home now. So pray that prayer. Truly mean it like you see me on the screen. And God will save you and send you the Holy Spirit. Okay? He will send you the Holy Spirit, and it'll indwell in you. You'll be a new person, a new creature in Christ. You'll feel different. You'll start feeling different about all your sins. You'll be like, wow. And if you don't believe me, folks, go on YouTube, type in testimonial videos of people that have, lots of people that have gotten saved and how it's truly changed their lives. They'll tell you everything they've done previous until they got to the day they got saved and how it miraculously changed their lives around. Okay? A guy I used to know, he was in gangs. He used to play the knockout game. They come up and knock people out for fun. He had tattoos all over his chest. He's a pastor in a church today. He went from, and it was just, this wasn't that long ago. It was like 6 years ago it happened. He went from, inside of a year, he went from a gangster to a priest. Now tell me, folks, if I was to walk up to somebody in the Bronx and say, look, I want you to be a priest in 6 months from now. Do you think he's going to be a priest in 6 months from now? No, he's going to be still doing the same thing. And it would have to take something supernaturally to change his mind to do that. Well, he can try all those religions, won't work. The religion that he was currently on, I think he was a Buddhist or something. I don't know what he was. But when he went to Jesus Christ, it truly did something to him. Supernaturally, he changed. And that, like I said, that person there, if I went to somebody that they actually gave their life to Christ, I guarantee you that person will be doing something with his life differently. He won't be doing that no more. So, folks, just a nice little proof there. Go and look it up. If you're not certain, do it now, because we can be out here in the next 24 hours, folks. That is how close we are to the rapture of the church. Okay. I like to thank everybody for being on here tonight. I like to, thank y'all for just checking our channel out. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's free to do. It takes 2 seconds of your time. Hit the notification bell. Smash the like button if you liked our video tonight, our live show. And Dustin, thank you for coming on with me tonight. I appreciate that. If you want to stick around for a few minutes afterward, that'd be great. All right, guys. I am going to go ahead and say goodnight to everybody on here. And yeah, folks, I am so glad that everybody tuned in.
I'm waiting. I got my popcorn and I'm looking up. I got my root beer, just waiting for the party.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I'm ready to go.
Yes, indeed. So that's him. He's waiting, and I should be outside too. Now, I'll tell you right now, buddy, you may not be sitting on that chair very long. That's how close we are.
I know. That's why I got my popcorn. I'm just waiting for the show.
I'll tell you what, we got front row seats to Bible prophecy. We're seeing it all. God's giving us all right now front row seats.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And our moderator, Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany, for showing up and moderating our chat room tonight. Yep, everybody's all right, guys. Let's bring this thing for a land. We're about to bring this airplane in for a landing, guys. Appreciate it. All right, guys. I will talk to you all later, guys. Keep looking up, eyes to the sky. Later.
God bless y'all.